عبادي الذين اصطفى ما بعد. For the past 2 or 3 weeks we've been talking about how the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be achieved by purely loving someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are several hadiths to the subject. Today inshallah we'll continue reading from that. We had established last week through many hadiths and through ayat of the Quran that when we say love, we do not mean a love in form of words, but a love that is shown by actions, a love that is shown by perfect obedience and ittiba', following the commands and following the examples of the one that you are claiming to love. And if that, I don't know if we read this hadith, I think we did, al-mar'u ma'a man ahabba, that if the Prophet ﷺ is saying that a person is with those or with the one that he loves, no, then, and if we know that the meaning of love is ittiba' or following, then of course if it's a pious person and you are following them, you are following in their footsteps and doing good deeds, naturally inshallah you will be with the pious people in the hereafter. And that is why it is said that loving the pious people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is itself a source of salvation because of ittiba'. On that subject, there is another hadith that I think we missed that day. عن أبي هريرة قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله تعالى يقول يوم القيامة أين المتحابون بجلال اليوم أظلهم في ظلي بجلالي اليوم أظلهم في ظلي يوم لا ظل إلا ظلي. I think we did read this hadith, not the last time, but the one before it. The Prophet ﷺ has said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say on the day of judgment that where are those people who had loved each other only for my sake, because of al-mutahabbuna bi jalali, those who loved and had this relationship of muhabbat with each other only for myself. Al-yawma udhilluhum fi dhilli, I will give them shadow in my own shadow. Yawma la dhilla illa dhilli, on a day where there is no shadow but my shadow. Now today inshallah the few hadiths that we will read talk specifically about how the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promised. So not only the hereafter, the salvation in the hereafter is promised upon loving somebody only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world is also promised only with just because you love someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This hadith we've read many times. عن معاذ بن جبل قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله تعالى وجبت محبتي للمتحابين في. Only from this first part of the hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is a hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is something with the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is delivering his words through the tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So يقول قال الله تعالى وجبت محبتي للمتحابين في. Those who love each other only for my sake, my muhabbat, my love becomes wajib, my love becomes necessary for those people. And not only so, we'll talk about it, why is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala important in our life in the second section of hadith that we read. But here from this hadith we learn that the muhabbat, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have to think about it. There's so many things that come to mind. When we claim to do something, we are creations and creations are always imperfect. it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that my love becomes wajib for them. So the perfect being is saying that my love becomes wajib for them. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. When the creator does something, since the creator himself is perfect, he does whatever he does in a most perfect fashion. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I am going to love these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to have a perfect love with those people. And what is the meaning of perfect love? A love that never stops, that in which there is no gaps, and a love that constantly keeps on increasing. So as long as we keep loving people for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep loving us without any gaps in between, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, with every single passing moment of our love with that person, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, when we are talking about this love, it's about halal love. It's not about loving a woman, a man loving a non-mahram, impermissible woman for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's not possible. We explained it when we started this chapter, that this is only talking about permissible love. Love that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it is to be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it has to be within the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we had also said that 99% of the time, all the relationships that we look at are relationships that we have, even the relationships that we have within our family. We have not consciously thought about it, but they are not solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if we want to accept it or not, but our relationships even within our family are based on the benefits that we are going to get. And 99% of the time, they are worldly benefits. Our relationships are not based on the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the relationship of a student with their spiritual teacher or their sheikh is definitely, it's a characteristic example where it is based only on for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it is not that, either you are faltering in something, you have drawbacks, or your sheikh has drawbacks, and we can explain that later, inshallah. Anyway. So wajabat muhabbati lil mutahabbina fi. But not only for that, not only for the people who love solely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but something that we can for sure say that inshallah we are doing right now, which is wal mutajalisina fi. Those who sit together only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the thing is that, is our love pure for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not? That is something that is ongoing and that we can question. But when we are sitting here, if we only do it right now, that we think, why did we leave our home, and why did we come, and why did we sit here? Of course, it may have happened to begin with that we came because our friend was going, because our friend invited. Or may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such misfortune, that we came here, that we'll just sit together and have some food. But we can correct that right now. As we are sitting here, we can think consciously to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, when we are spending time here, the time that we could have spent anywhere else, we are sitting here, we are doing it only for the sake of you. Food we could have got anywhere else. Time with our friends we could have spent anywhere else. Why are we doing it here? And why are we listening to this talk? And why are we sitting like this, where we cannot socialize, but we are only sitting and listening to something? So if we do this little thinking within ourselves right now, it can become purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sake of by the hadith that we are reading, which is narrated by Imam Malik rahimahullah, that muhabbat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also becomes compulsory for the people who sit together only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal mutazawirina fi, those who meet each other only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that also, inshallah, if we think about it, we can make the intention of that as well. Wal mutabadilina fi, and those who spend on each other only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all these kinds of people who do these kind of things only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes incumbent, wajib, or necessary for such people. Now, as we have explained, that it is something that is initiated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is initiated by the most perfect being. And whenever we do this kind of a thing, whenever we want to consciously love someone, for example, we are connected with a teacher, with a spiritual teacher, a sheikh, we should constantly keep on reminding ourselves that who are we doing it for? We are not doing it so that we become acceptable in the eyes of our own sheikh, or that we appear in the society as somebody who has dedicated themselves or who are serious about deen in their life. But we are doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is our topmost purpose, and then everything else comes under it. When we have a pure muhabbat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the other, let's read one more hadith on this topic. Narrated by Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. It's a hadith from Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there was a person who traveled somewhere. Very okay. عن أبي هريرة عن النبي, this is not from Sayyidina Ali رضي الله عنه, Sayyidina Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن رجلا زار أخا له في قرية أخرى فأرسل الله له على مدرجته ملكا قال أين تريد؟ قال أريد أخا لي في هذه القرية قال هل لك من نعمة تربها؟ قال لا غير أني أحببته في الله قال فإني رسول الله إليك بأن الله قد أحبك كما أحببته فيه. This is a hadith in Muslim. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, first read the translation in Urdu and then explain it in English inshallah. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu riwayat करते हैं कि रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से, Abu Hurairah रदियल्लाहु अन्हु रिवायत फरमाते हैं हुजूर अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से कि एक शख्स, यानी हुजूर अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम बता रहे हैं कि एक शख्स अपने एक भाई से जो दूसरी एक बस्ती में रहता था मुलाकात के लिए चला, तो अल्लाह ताला ने उसकी राह गुज़र पर एक फ़रिश्ते को मुंतज़िर बना के बिठा दिया। जब वो शख्स उस मकाम से गुजरा तो फरिश्ते ने उससे पूछा कि तुम्हारा कहाँ का इरादा है? उसने कहा मैं उस बस्ती में रहने वाले अपने एक भाई से मिलने जा रहा हूँ। फरिश्ते ने कहा क्या उस पर तुम्हारा कोई एहसान है और कोई हक़ नेमत है जिसको तुम पूरा और पुख्ता करने के लिए जा रहे हो? उस बंदे ने कहा नहीं, मेरे जाने का बायस इसके सिवा कुछ नहीं है कि अल्लाह के लिए मुझे इस भाई से मोहब्बत है। फरिश्ते ने कहा कि मैं तुम्हें बताता हूँ कि मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने तुम्हारे पास ख़ास ये बताने ही के लिए भेजा है कि अल्लाह पाक तुमसे मोहब्बत फरमाते हैं जैसी कि तुम अल्लाह के लिए उस बंदे से मोहब्बत करते हो। So this is, you should keep in mind again, I keep on reminding us that the most pure form of love that we can have for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 99% of the cases it is only when we have our connection and relationship with our shaykh. Because when we make somebody our shaykh, when we make them our spiritual leader, our spiritual guide, we show confidence in them first. First of all, there's a checklist, there's check marks that we fill, which is that this person is not desiring the world through this connection. This is the first thing that we find out. We see that this person is following the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. We see that this person has ikhlas, he's true to the effort of deen. When we see those kind of things, only then we make them our shaykh, right? So if somebody does not have that and we start loving them, chances are that the love that they are going to give us in return is not going to be wholly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the case with, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, with so many people who have plagued this science, this art of tasawwuf, that they would start gathering murid. In our teachings are, Hakim Ulama Maulana Rashid Sahib Thanvi, he has compiled a list of kabair, and kabair, major sins. He's compiled a list, and in that list he has made a separate list for mashayikh, the people who are permitted to train people spiritually. And at the top of that list is to have a desire to have a crowd around you. Hazrat has written that this is a major sin for the person who is becoming a spiritual leader of other people. To desire to have a crowd around them. So, they are the ones who have been permitted, if they have been permitted and they have been certified to actually train other people in spiritual lineage. They have been certified. The one who has trained them has made sure that they will not do these kind of silly things. The people who are na'uzubillah not aware of these things and they are just in the race for becoming a bigger and bigger Sufi, bigger and bigger Peer, the first thing that they care about is that we should have a lot of people around us. We should have and na'uzubillah, totally going against the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, making people involved in their personal works, having them do things that using the people who are connected with them for their personal gains and their personal benefits. For the matters of deen, it is permissible, of course. It comes in a hadith when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, the total financial responsibility of Masjid al-Nabawi, the Prophet ﷺ placed in 2 sentences on the shoulders of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. When the matter came that Masjid is to be built, the Prophet ﷺ said, Abu Bakr Siddiq, Abu Bakr, this is your responsibility. You will take care of all the construction costs of this Masjid. So for the deen, it is there, and it is a preferable thing. It is something that you are involving people around you. You're giving them a chance to get involved in good things, but that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the people who have played this science, this art of the tasawwuf, they start using these people for their personal gains, and in their heart the feeling is that we are becoming a bigger and better Peer with more people around us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. But anyway, this hadith talks about this person who was going to see a person. And although this hadith uses akhu, but in the explanation it is written that it is very clear that these people were not related by blood. These people were brother in terms of not blood related brothers, but brother in the general sense. And he's saying that I am going to this person, and he was only going there for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the angel that was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel that stood on this person's way and asked him, made sure. First he asked him, what is your reason for going there? He said, I am going to visit, this is a hadith in Muslim Sharif, I am going there to visit my brother. Allahu Akbar. And then this angel confirmed that does he have any sort of compulsion? Has he done any favors to you because of which you are going to see that person? And this person says, this man says that no, I'm only going there because there's no reason for me going there except that I love this person for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we are going to the majalis of our mashayikh, we should remember this hadith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us a mistaq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us like these people who go somewhere to meet their spiritual teachers only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This angel says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent me to tell you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, and pay attention. بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَحَبَّكَ كَمَا أَحْبَبْتَهُ فِيهِ. Like the way you love that person. Like the way you love that person. So last week we had talked about how the Prophet ﷺ has asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his love and the love of the people who are beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free our love with the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of any devilish desires, any impressions of the shaitan. Give us a pure and clean love, because from this hadith we learn that the kind of love that we are going to get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be proportionate to the kind of love that we have with our brother in deen, only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, we expect that we are imperfect and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be immensely merciful to us. And there's so many hadiths to this effect that when we do a little thing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala returns it multiple folds. So we cannot say that it will be exact one-to-one thing, and of course if it's one-to-one thing, then we stand no chance. Because whatever we do, we basically have no chance. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that He returns even the minimal and tiny efforts with multiple folds of reward. When we start this discussion, along those lines, we should think that those people who have this kind of relationship with anyone, they should be very particular about this, and they should keep checking themselves that are we doing this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or are we doing it for anyone else? If they find out that they are doing it for any other reason, for example, I know of families, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, I'm not talking about anyone who's here, but I know of families who the man became, bad with a sheikh, and then he wants his wife to become bad with that sheikh too, so that she'll come on the line too, right? So she'll become obedient to me, right? My sheikh will straighten her as well, since he has straightened me. You understand what I'm saying? These kind of things. There's multiple reasons. Before connecting with a sheikh, these are the things that we're supposed to know. Then what are we seeking through it? We are seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. We are seeking the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, if we had a bad intention or we did not have a correct intention, we can always change our intention. This is the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if we've been with somebody and we see that there's so many other people who are benefiting from that person, and we are that misfortunate person who's not benefiting from that person, then it is, my brothers, it is a matter of great concern. You know what that means? That means that you are so despised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that even though you are, and people right and left to you are getting benefit from that shaykh and finding the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their lives, you are miserable and you are unfortunate that you are not getting it. Of course, there is no reason to lose hope, but we need to make serious istighfar. We need to make serious istighfar. And we need to see, a lot of times, of course, shaitan comes, the thieves come wherever the wealth is, wherever the treasure is. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised so many huge benefits with this relationship, the shaitan attacks. See, what is the purpose of shaitan? He wants companions in hellfire. All the hadiths that we read last time said that if people start loving each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising Jannah for them. So, isn't this a direct hit on the purpose of shaitan? When that is the case, then shaitan is going to put their full effort on preventing us from doing this. And we see this. There's so many people. I heard about one of my family members told me about another person that they encouraged them that, mashallah, you are a religious person, you have this. This is also a requisite of our deen that you should not be neglectful about. So I was surprised how the shaitan had changed their mind. The argument that they put forth was that I am not ready to fulfill the requirements of this relationship. My dear respected brother, who among us is capable enough of fulfilling the requirements of this great relationship? None of us. Imagine how shaitan puts it in our minds. So you are basically saying that I'll first become perfect myself and then connect with the shaykh. If you are perfect yourself, then what is the need of your shaykh, right? You should become a shaykh yourself, right? So the thing is that the thing is that shaitan has made it his job to prevent people from treading on this path, because he knows that once they start, when they catch up, when they jump that obstacle, that primary hurdle, then there's majority of the chances that they will, inshallah, find good end with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they will find Jannah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because those are the promises made by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, several other things. For example, one of the people that I know, they had this confusion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected them from this. But they had this confusion. They had some visa issues going on. And they said that of course this confusion that come in our mind, we don't even realize what's happening with us. They say, that person thought that when my visa issue resolves, I will enter into this relationship. So that imagine how subtly and how inconceivably shaitan fools us. That your visa issue does not have anything to do with this, right? You can enter into this relationship with anything, right? So there's so many other examples when you think about it, when you read it in the books, when you look around, there's so many things that the shaitan keeps on putting in your mind that you should first do this. The one very common one that I explained is that people think that we are not ready to fulfill the requisites of this relationship. Why? What are the requisites of this relationship? Nobody is perfect. The other thing that we want to talk about today, inshallah, is that one thing is that we talked about last week is that muhabbat or love is loved by how much you follow them, right? But that does not mean that if you cannot follow them, you should not even try, right? Very common sense things that are common sense that we can apply everywhere in our life except here, because the shaitan is sitting and hindering. But anyway, the other thing is that the way Hazrat has put it is muhabbat wajhe itaat ban jati hai. Love becomes a cause of obedience. Love becomes when you grow, and this is very common sense too, that when you love someone, you actually start loving someone, you automatically start obeying them. You automatically start trying to be like them. And there's help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that regard. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ready and fully, I don't know if I should use this word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to put us in Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to go in Jannah. So when we take the first step, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is definitely going to help us, rather than starting to find ways of pushing us into hellfire. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we start this journey of loving someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when we do it with the most, when we do it without feeling it in our heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put that in our heart. When somebody marries someone, in our culture especially, what happens? Do they love them beforehand? Alhamdulillah, 80% of the cases, should I say, just to be careful, that's not the case. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put, فَأَلَّفَ, this is the ayah of the Quran, that you were, when the Prophet ﷺ, people brought faith on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying? فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ. It is Allah who put ulfat in your hearts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected, joined your hearts. So when we take the first conscious step, and that first step is right on the neck of shaitan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts that within our heart. If we are sincere in our struggle, if we want to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that yes, we are serious about this, we want to do this, although our heart may not want to do that, we are doing it consciously. There's one hadith that is, we read this hadith with Anas last time, in which one of the narrations is that he said that the Sahaba never became as happy after having brought faith as they became happy with this glad tidings that the Prophet ﷺ gave them, which is that Anta ma'a man ahbabta, you are with the person that you love. This Anas said that I became very happy because my actions are not like that of the Prophet ﷺ or Abu Bakr or Umar, but through the words of the Prophet ﷺ, today I've got this glad tidings good news that I will be with them. So even, yes, this hadith. I think this is the only hadith that we missed. عن عبد الله بن صامت عن أبي ذر أنه قال يا رسول الله الرجل يحب القوم ولا يستطيع أن يعمل كعملهم قال أنت يا أبا ذر مع من أحببت قال فإني أحب الله ورسوله قال فإنك مع من أحببت قال فأعادها أبو ذر فأعادها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. अब्दुल्लाह इब्न सामित रज़ी अल्लाह अन्हु अबू दर ग़िफ़ारी रज़ी अल्लाह अन्हु से रिवायत करते हैं, उन्होंने यानी अबू दर ग़िफ़ारी रज़ी अल्लाह अन्हु is a real narrator and Abdullah ibn Samit is narrating from him that Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu anh he submitted in the with the Prophet उन्होंने हुज़ूर अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की खिदमत में अर्ज़ किया, या रसूल अल्लाह, एक आदमी है उसको अल्लाह के ख़ास बंदों से मोहब्बत है लेकिन वो इस बात से बेबस है कि उनके जैसे अमल कर सके, तो उसका अंजाम क्या होगा? रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने फरमाया, अबू ज़र तुमको जिससे मोहब्बत होगी तुम उसी के साथ होगे। अबू ज़र रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु ने अर्ज़ किया, या हज़रत मुझे तो अल्लाह और अल्लाह के रसूल से मोहब्बत है। आप सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने इरशाद फरमाया, बस तुम उन्हीं के पास और उन्हीं के साथ रहोगे जिनसे तुमको मोहब्बत है। ये जवाब सुनकर अबू ज़र ने अपनी बात को फिर दोहराया और रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने जवाब में फिर वही इरशाद फरमाया जो पहली मरतबा इरशाद फरमाया था। Abdullah ibn Samit radiallahu anhu narrates from Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu anhu that Abu Dharr Ghifari radiallahu anhu asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, there is a man who loves Allah's special people, but he is not capable of doing deeds like those people. So what will happen to this person? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, O Abu Dharr, you will be with the one that you love. Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu said, Ya Rasulullah, I have love for Allah and the Prophet of Allah and his Prophet. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, then you are with them, the ones that you love. Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, upon listening to this answer, repeated his question, and the Prophet ﷺ repeated his same answer. So from this we should understand that therein is hope for us, that even when we love somebody who is pious, who has deeds for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's living a pious life, and even if you are not able to do exactly as they are doing, only because of this love, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will compensate for our shortcomings and inshallah gather us with them in Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the company of pious people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world and in the hereafter with full understanding, realization of their status, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather us with them in Jannah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم إنا نسألك حبك وحب من يحبك وحب عمل يقرب إلى حبك. اللهم إنك أنت الكريم الجواد الكريم. या अल्लाह तमाम गुनाह माफ़ फरमाइए। या अल्लाह आप जवाद हैं, आप करीम हैं। या अल्लाह बहुत ज़्यादा अता फरमाने वाले हैं। या अल्लाह महरूम न फरमाइए, बहुत ज़्यादा मोहब्बत फरमाने वाले हैं। या अल्लाह अपनी मोहब्बत से महरूम न फरमाइए। या अल्लाह अपनी मोहब्बत पाने के जो ज़राए या अल्लाह दुनिया में पैदा फरमाए हैं, या अल्लाह उनमें से हर ज़रिए को या अल्लाह पूरी कदर के साथ या अल्लाह उनको अपनाने वाला बनाइए। या अल्लाह अपने मुहिब्बीन में, आशिकीन में, ज़ाकिरीन में, मुनीबीन में, मुतीईन में, मुस्तग़फ़िरीन में, ख़ास मुहिब्बीन में, आशिकीन में हमेशा हमें शामिल फरमाए रखिए, मुक़र्रबीन में शामिल फरमाए रखिए। जो मांग सके वो भी अता फरमा दीजिए, जो ना मांगा वो भी मांगना चाहिए था वो भी अता फरमा दीजिए। अल्लाहुम्मा इन्ना नस्अलुका मिनल खैरि कुल्लिहि आजिलिहि व आजिलिहि मा अलिमना मिन्हु व मा लम नअलम। अल्लाहुम्मा इन्ना नऊज़ु बिका मिन शर्रि कुल्लिहि आजिलिहि व आजिलिहि मा अलिमना मिन्हु व मा लम नअलम। समिअना व अताअना ग़ुफ़रानक रब्बना व इलैकल मसीर। सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला खैरि ख़ल्क़िहि सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि व सहबिहि अजमईन। आमीन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन।